All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for taking your time to watch our podcast every week, for the time you take to leave us ratings and reviews. If this is your first time finding our podcast, welcome. If a friend told you about it, we're happy to have you. We're coming up on 4 years of doing this podcast.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly what month in 2020 we started it. I could go back and look, but we're on episode like 300 and
We,
360 something, 330 something. I'll find out when we go to upload this video, but
I was looking for something the other day and I, for some reason, scrolled back and found like episode, it was either one or two.
uh-huh.
And we were in our house in Idaho and we had like, I was like, we were trying to be like two ferns and
Yeah,
was
that
that
behind
guy?
two ferns, between two ferns.
We had like
You were like really into,
plants all around us. That house was just really good for growing plants, but we were like two chairs sitting side by side, plants all around us. Because the plants didn't normally sit like that. I
Yeah.
arranged them just for the podcast.
yeah, it was weird.
It was weird. I was like, what were we doing?
Why did we think we would sit down in chairs and do
We
it?
didn't have a situation like this. We didn't have a gym office auditorium at the
Yeah.
time. We had our living room.
We had like a part of a living room that was our office, recording studio, all that kind of
You
stuff.
know, look how far we've come.
Yeah. What was I talking about? We've got a good episode for you today. We stole this idea from somebody else on Instagram and put our own little spin on it. We're going to be
Not the things.
no,
like
no,
the
not
idea
the
of
idea of it. Yeah, we're going to be talking about 4 fitness contradictions today. These are things that, like, it's basically 2 sentences put together that kind of seem contradictory, but when you think about it, there's some nuance there.
it's basically, it was both can be true.
Both
Both
of-
statements can be true.
Yep. This you
That's
can
the
like
contradiction.
bring this up at like a family gathering or whatever, and you could probably like start an argument with somebody who's hardcore on one side or the other. But we're going to give explanations on all of them. Before we get into that, we're sponsored today by this old school hat that I've got on. I've
We're
got,
sponsored by Try It CrossFit.
yep, throwing it back to Blakely's
love
old
it.
gym. You were asking about where's my Try It
I
CrossFit
know.
hat?
I've been missing both. We had two, and I couldn't find either of them. And you found both somehow.
I knew where they were the whole time. This
Okay.
one's got some good wear and tear on it.
Yeah, they were good
I like
hats.
it, trucker style.
love
We've
them.
talked about doing digital barbell hats before, but I don't think we could get enough interest in like you got to buy a lot of them
Yeah.
basically, and they're not cheap. And a lot of people like different styles of hats. So not that we're never going to do
How
it,
did we
but
get those? Oh, we did like a pre-order.
Right.
I think we did like, yeah,
because
everybody
they cost
ordered-
like
yeah.
in small quantities, anything less than like 100 hats,
Right.
they're like 40-50 bucks a pop, and like not that many people want to spend that much on a hat.
I don't think they were that much.
Something like that. But we are in the works on some new t-shirts. Like we're in the planning stages. Blakely came up with a design, and
And a
we've
new
got
logo.
a new logo. We've got some samples coming our way to make sure
Yeah.
we like the way it looks on
We
the
got some
digital
new
barbell
stickers
body.
coming. I'm excited.
Yeah.
In the next few days.
So stay tuned
Yeah.
for that. You guys will know about it for sure. The only other announcement I want to really get to is that we're still offering the free week of training. It's if you're hearing this podcast, send us a message through digitalbarbell.com/free week, and we'll let you know if it's still going on if you're like out in like 10-year distant future.
Oh yeah.
That's a good thing about these. They live on forever. But
true. Like,
but yeah,
what-
if you want to see what it's like to work with a digital barbell coach, to see what our training method is all about, see what it's like to get coached in an online platform, but you've been kind of hesitant. Maybe you're already doing like group classes or something, and you're not sure if you're getting the results that you should be getting, or if you're doing things right, you're not getting the coaching that you think you should be getting. Try to add this in, see what you think about it. I think you'll like it a lot. So digitalbarbell.com/free week. And of course, we'll put the link to that in the show notes for this too.
All right.
Ready to get into this?
All right. Here we go. Both things can be true. Carbs don't keep you from losing weight. If you're not losing weight, you're probably eating too many carbs.
All right, so let's dig into this one real quick. Is this analogy good or not? You tell me. Think about carbs as the fuel, the gas in your tank, or diesel if you have a Super Duty. It's not the carbs that are the problem. It's the way that we use them, and that's how much we put in. You can not put enough fuel in your car, and you got a problem on your hands. And you can put in too much fuel, and now you got a mess on your feet. So it's not the fuel's fault. It's how we use it. And more specifically with carbs, it's how we choose it. So
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one. That's not how we use it. It's how we choose it.
I mean, I can say personally, I'm in a little bit of a lazy fat loss phase right now. Progress is moving, but slowly. And I'm still eating well over 200 grams of carbs per day. I have fat loss clients who are eating closer to 300 grams of carbs per day. Even female fat loss clients that are eating 150 or more grams of carbs per day. So the fact that you're eating carbs, despite whatever you read on a magazine or see on TV or whatever, carbs are not going to stop you from losing weight, regardless of your insulin response to them, regardless of any increased water weight that they make you hold. It's not going to stop you from losing weight. But if you're trying to lose weight and you're not, you're probably eating too many carbs not because of the number of carbs you're eating, but because of the kind of carbs and what you think of as carbs. If you go on a low carb, keto, carnivore, whatever diet, the first thing that comes to mind that you can't eat anymore, chips, crackers, cookies, ice cream, pizza, fried food, all that kind of stuff. Those are all carb foods. And when I did Atkins back in the early 2000s, like all that stuff had to go out the window. I mean, it was like meat, cheese, mayonnaise, every super high fat, super low carb, all those kinds of really tasty foods went out the door. And that's the reason that carbs are so tied up in this weight loss thing.
Right.
If we choose carbs from whole grains, from fruits, from vegetables, from legumes, beans, that kind of stuff, we're getting all the nutritious value of them. And in the process, we're not overeating calories. And matter of fact, like most of the people listening to this, they not only sometimes have weight loss goals, but they have body composition goals too. Like they want to look more athletic, be more lean, have more energy, build more muscle. And carbs are the fuel for that training we have to do to make those body composition changes happen.
Well, just think about the type of carb, like you're talking about, like sit down with a bowl of potatoes. It's very hard to overeat potatoes. You get full quickly. You're like, that's enough.
And they're almost all carb.
Away, and they're almost all carb. But you sit down with a bowl of chips, and you could go to town and not feel full and way overeat in calories.
If you are that person who feels like you're not losing weight and you've got the carbs demonized, you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna cut out all that stuff. Don't let it backfire on you and try to eliminate all that stuff from your diet all at once. Try to add in more of the nutritious carbs, the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, the potatoes, the beans.
Because they will fill you up.
All that kind of stuff. And you'll find out that you have less desire for those processed carbs. And by doing that, substituting out those carbs that are tied with fat and they're ultra processed and highly palatable, you'll automatically start to eat fewer calories. And you'll notice that, hey, I'm still eating plenty of carbs to fuel my training, my body composition, and I'm losing weight because my calories went down. And that's the only thing that matters when it comes to losing weight or not.
We get in a way with these H-E-B brand tortilla chips. And it's like...
we get in a way.
If we buy these suckers and we have them right there, we pull them out while we're making dinner and we start to snack on them. And we can easily eat...
300 calories?
300 to 500 calories in chips while we're like cooking dinner. And we like basically... This last month we've decided like, okay, we're not getting those chips. We're not going to have them here. Like we can have them on the weekend if we want or something, but we're not going to like pull them out and be eating them while we're making dinner. And it's really made just like that thing has cut out a lot of calories in our overall weekly diet.
Yep. I think so I said some other saying like, don't blame the cucumber for what the cracker did or something like that. It's like, it's not the carbs. It's the
don't blame the banana.
Don't blame the banana. It's the foods that are easy to overeat that are high in carbs that are the problem.
Okay. We got that one. All right. Being sore doesn't mean you got a good workout. If you're not ever sore, your workouts probably aren't very good.
Yeah. I've been pretty sore lately. How about you?
I'm really sore. We must have got a good workout. I'm just kidding.
But I remember like, back in the CrossFit days, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm destroyed.
Yeah.
That was such a good workout. Like it was like this badge of honor to barely be able to walk into the gym or have to lay on the floor for 10 minutes after the fact because you're so destroyed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you got a good workout.
Right.
It just means you did something that made you really sore.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before on the podcast, but I could write you a workout that's really, really easy looking on paper. It's super, super simple. That's going to make you incredibly sore. but it's not going to be any good for what your goals are. It's not going to move you one step closer to building your body or getting stronger or anything like that. The one that always comes to mind is go out and do a 1/4 mile of walking lunges.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that will destroy you, and it will destroy the rest of your week. That's
Right.
the one thing about a workout that, like, if you do a workout like, a very intense, long, like, workout, like walking lunges, or like when we did those step ups,
Yeah,
we were like,
1,000
okay, I knew what
step-ups.
I was getting into. I know this is going to be really tough. I was insanely sore. I couldn't really do my full week of workouts after that. Something like that. Like, we did it for a reason.
Yeah.
We're talking about the workout Chad for like the hero workout, but it wasn't a good workout. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't, it wasn't, we're not trying to be like, if we were like training to go backpacking in a really long hiking trip, I would do that more often because I'm like, this would help me. I would be wearing a pack. I could be stepping up all the time. Something like this would help me. But for our general training, it wasn't a good workout for us. It made us super sore, but we didn't like gain a ton of fitness toward what we're working for.
Yeah.
But like you were just talking about, we're sore right now. Like, we just, within the Digital Barbell family, we just started a new training cycle. And so we have been doing some alternative lifts to like the squat, bench, press and deadlift. So we've been adding in some things, some heel elevated squats, some lunges, and we're sore. It's because we've introduced a different training stimulus.
Right.
And so that's when you expect to be sore. Back to your point of if you're never sore, then your workouts aren't probably that good.
Yeah.
Back to the thing of where, like, if you're going into the gym and you have your list and you're like, here's what I do every day, 3x10 of this, and here's my weights, you will not be getting sore because you're never challenging your body and creating a new stimulus.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the bigger question is like, all right, well then what does make a good workout if soreness isn't an indicator of it? A good workout is, number one, a workout that you'll do.
Number one, most important.
Who cares like what
Yeah.
somebody cooks up for you if you're not willing to do it, or it looks so hard that you're not willing to even attempt it. So that's number one. It challenges you.
Yeah.
A good workout has to challenge you because that's where growth happens, at the edges of what you can do now. A good workout is one that you can recover from, meaning it wasn't so hard that you can't train again for a week because you're so fatigued or so sore. And it's one that's just a little micro baby step in the progress of your entire journey. It got you a little bit stronger. It gave you a little bit more than you've done in the past. And sometimes people struggle with that because a good workout doesn't have to be one that leaves you laying on the floor or like you're completely exhausted from, or you have to go take a nap after. It's just a workout that gave you what you needed and is a small part of your overall fitness. And that can be a little bit of a letdown if your only measure or your only motivation for going to the gym is to feel destroyed.
We were just watching, if you guys follow CrossFit, like the people who are like trying to go to the CrossFit games are doing like the quarterfinal workouts. Like, there was the CrossFit Open, and now there's like the quarterfinals, and then they had to do them in their own gym online, and then they submit their scores, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they, on this podcast that we watch, they had 4 guys that did it live. So like all last weekend, we were totally into watching this. It's like they had to do 4 workouts, and they spread it out over like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They did a few of the workouts. So anyway, it was fun to watch, and because I just like watching that kind of stuff. And one of the workouts was, I decided, like, I think it was on Saturday. I decided like I was gonna do my version of the quarterfinals workout while we were streaming the thing, like Inception over here. And do this workout, like not with them, but just like as we're watching it. Anyway, it was very hard. It was something that I would like to do, though. It consisted of
Wall ball.
basically, in the end, you did 150 wall ball and 150, you did 3 rounds of 50 wall ball and 50 burpee box jump overs. So not only a burpee, but a box jump over. Anyway, 3 rounds, 150 of each. I was like, I want to do that.
Because it sounded hard.
Because it sounded hard. And there's a 20-minute time cap. And so I'm doing it as we're watching it and everything like that. And one of the guys, one of the guys goes so hard and so intense that he basically started passing out, jumped up on the box and then just fell backwards, came to, he finished the workout in the time cap, but like was absolutely destroyed, like almost in a medical emergency destroyed.
Yeah.
Because he was racing against two CrossFit Games athletes, three CrossFit Games athletes, and like he was moving in an intensity level that I think he's not used to. Anyway, not to say that would happen if I prescribed you guys that many burpees, but I was fine.
We're not encouraging you to go to that place, guys.
But anyway, I'm bringing all this up because they interviewed him like 8 hours later when he finally was okay, and they were asked, "Do you feel fitter because of this?" And he said, "Heck yes, I do." And so I was like thinking about that. I was like, do I feel fitter because, I did this along with them? And I thought yes too. And normally I wouldn't think a workout like that, I would be like, I'm fitter because of this. But I think that you can also be fitter because you learn some things about yourself in this workout. Like, I learned how to, like, doing 50 burpees over a box in a row was hard.
That was the workout, really.
So the first 10, my legs like buckled. I was like, oh boy, this is not, after the squats.
140 to go.
I was like, this is not going to be good. But I think you can like get something out of a workout like that, like the kind of workouts that we talk about that a lot of times I'm like, I wouldn't prescribe because that's not going to get you fitter. You can get some fitness out of them, not only physical, but mostly mental.
That's kind of where I was going to go with it, is like, you certainly learned what you're capable of.
I learned a lot about myself in that workout, and I learned that I can face workouts like that or face challenges and just like kind of keep going, keep chunking along at these reps.
Yeah.
Little by little.
To bring it full circle back to the original contradiction statement,
Yes.
Were you sore afterwards?
Yeah, and I am sore, and then the digital barbell programming had quite a few of kind of the same movement patterns the next day, and I was a little bit mad at myself because I did that on Saturday, and then we rested on Sunday, and on Monday I knew it was our big squat day and our lunges and our the day that I really like the best in our program. Well, don't like the best, but like the best. And I knew that doing that on Saturday was going to affect my Monday performance, and it did.
Yeah.
I couldn't like do the weights I wanted to do. Like I was not recovered. My knees still felt bruised from all those burpees. Like I was like, my knees are bruised, everything hurts, and so there's like, it's like a double-edged.
This is why it's important to have a coach, honestly. Like they can guide you through this.
Actually, as we were working out on Monday, I'm like, I never would have been like, y'all should do quarterfinals workouts, right? But I'm like, I'm glad I didn't make anybody else do this workout because I knew how I was feeling on Monday trying to do my regular workouts.
Yeah.
Not as successfully as I would have hoped.
Yep. I was not tempted at all to do it. Let me just wrap this one up by saying,
yeah, we went long on this one.
You mentioned this about, if your routine is to do 3x10 of these exercises with these dumbbells, you're never going to be sore. That really is something that holds a lot of people back. They're just going through the motions, not pushing themselves anywhere near close enough to failure, not using heavy enough weights because they're insecure about the movement they're doing or their form, or they're afraid they're going to get hurt, or they just think that going through the motions is enough. So if you're never sore, you're missing out. Come do the free week with us. We'll teach you.
But being sore doesn't mean you got a good workout.
Yes. It's a perfect example of why you need a coach.
All right. Third one. We got to move on. It's not a big deal if you miss a workout. It's a big deal if you miss a workout. If you miss workouts.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a distinction there.
Yeah.
Okay, think about it like this. I love a good analogy. If your plan is to put 10% of your paycheck,
can we just
every
talk
single
about
paycheck,
the statement?
we can, but we're not going to. So if your plan is to put 10% of your weekly paycheck into retirement for the next 30 years, what happens if you miss a couple of those deposits along the way?
Everybody's turned this podcast off by now.
Nothing happens if you miss a few of your monthly deposits in your retirement. But if you miss that payment, or that deposit, you get super upset that you missed it, and you feel like you're just never going to be able to retire because you missed the deposit, and then you just give up putting deposits in because it's never going to happen. Now that's a big deal. And that's literally what happens with people when they miss a workout. It leads to them missing more workouts. So that's what makes it a big deal. It's all about the frequency and the frequency with which you're missing that tells you if it's a big deal or not. I think the nuance in this is you got to figure out, why are you missing your workouts? What is your mindset around missing, and how often are you missing? Those are the three pieces we got to troubleshoot so that you missing a workout is not a big deal. Because if you don't address those three things, you're going to continue to miss workouts. And then it really is going to be a big deal.
I like to think of it along the CrossFit models. I feel like I talk about CrossFit a lot, but I like it. CrossFit model
Not sponsored.
of sickness, wellness, fitness chart. So
I think it's sickness, health,
wellness, fitness.
Okay, sorry.
Did you take your level 1? And in thinking about this, it also, I think it depends a lot on how long you've been doing workout consistently. So if you're just now starting to get into consistent workouts, like missing one is a big deal because you haven't really developed that consistency,
the habits
and everything like that. If you're 10 15 years into a like pretty consistent where like you work out a lot and you go on a 2-week vacation and you're like, hey, I'm not going to bring anything, I might go for some walks, we're going to be like, awesome, enjoy yourself. If we know that you already have the consistency pattern there and you're going to come right back and get right back into it. It just depends on where you are. And I think about this, I brought up this chart because it also depends on where you are on this. Like it's like an arch and it goes from like sickness to wellness to fitness. And so like you can take like health measurements and physical measurements and see where you would be like plotted along there. And so if you're going along and you're trying to move from sickness all the way over to fitness, if something makes you backpedal, you miss workouts and you just something happens and you can't be consistent, then like you start to go back. And so if you're all the way on the other side over here at fitness and you start to backtrack a little bit, you're okay. You're still at wellness. You still have a lot of capacity left. But if you're teetering on that, like I'm between sickness and wellness, and if I'm going along and I'm starting to work out and then I miss a few and I'm starting to not have the habits again, I'm falling back into sickness, then that's when it starts to really matter.
Yeah, you push closer to the sickness like much more quickly because you had no buffer there.
Yeah, and I'm talking about things like being able, having capacity in your life, like being able to like do air squats and push-ups and get off the ground. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like missing a workout. 'Cause,
right.
I'm not trying to make it like, oh, if you miss your workout, you're going to fall into that chart. I'm talking about how capable are you in your day-to-day life and where are your health markers along this chart.
Yeah, I like that. So like how do we help somebody not miss workouts so that missing a workout doesn't turn into a big deal of missing a lot of workouts? I think like you got to remember anything in your life that you're successful at comes because of some amount of planning. It's okay to do, even if you normally work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you're going to be out of town on Friday, it's okay to work out 2 days in a row. Like I would rather you do your workout ahead of schedule than skip it because you're going to be out one day. You're not going to be so under recovered that you put yourself at risk. So do a workout ahead of time or do it after the fact or do a partial workout. Like eliminating the all or nothing mentality and really practicing something better is better than nothing can help you can keep missing workouts from turning into a big deal.
Yeah. And like you said before, doing workouts that you like is one of the most important things. So finding something that you really like to do and enjoy to do, not that because it's easy, but it's because it's something that you will do and you have the ability to do it.
Yep.
Like that's why we do online coaching is because, I love the group class atmosphere for a lot of people, but like for a lot of people that takes a huge chunk out of their day and it's not as easy to get to and to do consistently. But if you have a little home gym and you have the equipment there and you can do that and that's something that you will go out and do 3 or 4 times a week, that's what you should be doing. And we talk a lot about like learning to like enjoy the process of what you're doing. Versus like, okay, I got to, if I do 6 months of workouts, I'm going to have visible abs or visible biceps or something like that. We're not trying to like reach this goal, but we're trying to like, the ultimate goal should be to like love the process. And I think that's where you'll find the magic of like, it doesn't become a burden in your life. It becomes something that is part of your life and that this is what I do. Like,
I like it. It's part of your identity.
Yep.
Drop the mic.
All right. We're finally at the last one. You guys are still tuned in.
We'll know if you're not, by the way. We have people watching you.
You can lose weight without exercising. You'll have a hard time losing weight without exercising.
Okay, let me ask you.
These.
What's harder, eating healthy most of the time or hitting the gym? If you're like 99% of most people, it's like, I'm okay with going to the gym and doing my workouts. I'm okay with that. The hard part is the nutrition part, which is unfortunate because weight loss is driven by our nutrition. So if the weight loss is driven by your nutrition, that means that you can lose weight without exercising
Yeah.
if you just control what you put in your mouth, your nutrition, your food. But like I said in the beginning, that's the hard part. So what do we do about that? We have to find other rewards in our journey of weight loss if that's our goal, other than just looking down on between our toes in the morning and seeing the number on the
Yeah.
scale. And that's why you're going to have a hard time losing weight without exercising, because your only motivation is going to be like, am I seeing changes? And from today to yesterday and yesterday to the next day, you're not going to see a lot of changes. But if you're exercising, you have wins to celebrate every single time you go into the gym. You got a little bit stronger. You feel better immediately after you work out. You get this constant feedback loop, this reward dopamine hit every time you exercise.
And in turn, it makes you like want to change your nutrition because you start to like feel like you start to feel your nutrition in the gym. You're like, oh man, I shouldn't have like ate that much or drank that much or whatever. Like I wanted to be here, just kind of like doing that workout, and I'm like, I can't work out now because I've made myself so sore. It's kind of like that feeling in the gym where you're like feeling what you ate. And so you like want to you start to want to make changes. We saw that a lot at my gym when I owned it. Like people really, dedicated to the workout program, but not to the nutrition, and then get some consistency in the gym. And then they start to want to make changes to their nutrition to support their habits of coming to the gym.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody is surprised to know that regular physical activity improves your mood, lessens the symptoms of depression and things like that. And, let's be honest, like a lot of nutrition choices are a lot of nutrition and weight problems are really just manifestations of what's going on with us psychologically because we're coping with the stress and the anxiety and the stuff in our life through food.
Yeah.
So if we can improve our mood, lessen the symptoms of depression from the exercise that we do, we automatically start to make better food choices, and we just have the psychological and the physical benefits combined at the same time. Like it gets the steamroll
yeah, exactly
going.
what I was like. It's like the steam rolling down the hill quicker and quicker and quicker.
Yeah. So I think if you look at people, and they've done studies on this too, but if you look at people who just like, quote, go on a diet, join Weight Watchers, Optavia, whatever, and that's their only thing is doing the diet part of it. Yeah, they're probably going to lose weight during the time that they do it, but they're going to rebound back and regain the weight and more after they go off of it. But people that combine exercise with a diet intervention or just start with exercise on its own have better long-term lifestyle change outcomes than people who just go about it from attacking the nutrition side on its own. So you can lose weight without exercising, but you're going to have a hard time losing weight without exercising.
Boom. And we're done.
And we're done. Hopefully we got this one in under 45 minutes. It's always the goal. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Take advantage of that free week because it will not last forever, but we would love to get to know you and to coach you and help you make some quick progress.
And if you think of any of your own of these, send us a note.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think these are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're fun to think about.
Yep. What are you doing with your hair over there constantly?
Making a little...
What do you call that? A tank top beret?
It keeps it in.
They still do berets?
When you don't have a hair tie and you want to keep it under control, that's how you do it.
All right. On that note, hope you guys have a good rest of your week.